What is going on, Cage Thunder Fight fans? My name is Jake Digman, your master of ceremonies for all Cage Thunder events, and it is my esteemed honor to be sitting here right now with the former Cage Thunder amateur heavyweight champion. And I only say the word former because he has transitioned to the professional rankings. He is now a 1-0 as a professional fighter. He will be competing on the upcoming Cage Thunder 32 event on Saturday, June 7th from the Canton Civic Center in Canton, Ohio. It is my esteemed honor to be joined by RJ the Hammer Harris. RJ, how are you, my friend, this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy to be here. Happy to get a little conversation going.
Agreed. It's been a long time coming, having a chance to sit down and talk to you one on one like this. I've talked to you quite a few times in the cage after you fought, but you've been taking care of business when we talk then. So it's nice to be sitting here and having a chat like this. I
Yeah, hopefully it gets a little better than normal.
Yeah, we'll be all good. First thing I wanted to ask you about is how did you get involved with the sport of mixed martial arts? You're training down there. You're training at Sprawlin' and Brawlin' MMA down in Zanesville, Ohio, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how did that whole thing come about? How did you get involved in the sport of MMA, and how did you end up at Sprawlin' and Brawlin'?
Uh, David Lazier, the hippie. So we used to talk about it a lot as kids. Like, hey man, one day, why, let's do it or whatever. And I started doing Tough Man, and he was like, dude, I train at this gym, Sprawling and Brawling. He said, won't you come out here and check us out one time and see what it's about or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I went out for like once or twice, and I was like, I enjoy it, like just training and getting back into like moving and just staying active. Like at the time, I was just working and like going to the gym, and he was like, just come out and get a little bit of work in, see what you think. So I went out there a couple times. I was like, I enjoy it. And he was like, bro, so let's find you a fight. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do one at least. It'll be great. And then so really what got me into it, and then going to Sprawling and Brawling was because of Dave. He's the one that reached out to me and told me to come check the gym out, and then talked me into getting my debut fight set up.
Now, when you started fighting at super heavyweight. What weight were you at when you started this MMA journey? I'm just curious.
When I made my amateur debut, it's like three. It was like 308 or 306, something like that.
And what do you walk around at now, usually?
Probably about like I'd say anywhere between like 275 to like 280, depending
That's
on how lazy I get.
because you're a big heavyweight. You're the kind of guy when you walk into the room, people notice that you are there, and it's one of those things where I've always been curious about. It's a bigger guy making that cut down to 265. Um, what is that journey like for you?
Um, Kind of just like doing it or whatever. So from the first time I cut weight, and I had my first two fights at super heavy, and then I cut down to heavyweight, and a lot of people were just telling me like, like you need to get out of super heavy. No one's there to fight. Um, Once you fight so many people, like it's a lot harder to find another person just because there's not many super heavies around. There's more competition at heavyweight. But making that first initial weight cut, it wasn't like super hard, but like it wasn't easy either. And just like kind of like going back to that every time. Like it sucks. I don't want to have to cut weight. Like I hate it. So I'm trying to like really get down to I really would love to get it down to like 250, and like that'd be like what I walk around at and just like hang out at the 250 range. But just going back to where I was to get down too heavy initially, um, I just kind of just keep tapping into that area of what I did to lose all the weight, and just it makes cutting weight pretty easy.
Well, it's definitely been working for you, and your success is definitely proof of that. We've all seen it firsthand, especially us in Cage Thunder, and your success overall in the sport. I want to ask you, you this past March, you made your professional debut, and you'd mentioned earlier about, when you cut down from super heavyweight down to heavyweight. What made you decide that was the right time for you to turn pro? And did it have something to do with the fact that like almost like the super heavyweight division you were in at one point in time, did you feel like you'd accomplished everything there was to accomplish uh as an amateur fighter at that point?
Um, Accomplished everything. I mean, everyone's got like their own goals or whatnot. Pretty much, I took it as at this point in my career, like only people that I prefer to fight, like from the beginning to the end of my amateur career, was whoever was good fighters. Like let's just fight good people. And then it kind of just like I felt like if I'm gonna just continue to fight good people, better people than myself, whatever the circumstances may be, that why not like transition to the pro side of it and continue to fight good people, but make a little bit of money on doing it as well. So it's really kind of what my overall thought on it was just if I'm gonna fight good all the time, so why not? And I feel like I'm skilled enough and like I can do it, then why not turn over pro and continue to just keep fighting good competition and like I said, make a little bit of money on the side of it.
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting paid in this business. At the end of the day, we do it because we love it, but also, there's a nice, pretty paycheck that can come for you, and you only get that when you turn pro. So, as someone who's watched your fight from the fights, majority of them from the beginning of your career, I've seen a lot of athletes that come along that are special, and you're one of those guys that were special and had that opportunity to turn pro. I think you did it at the absolute right time right now. And the state of Ohio is we have three pro heavyweight fights on this card. It's kind of wild how many pros are coming through here now. And speaking of which, you going into this fight upcoming on June 7th, I've noticed that, and you've made a lot of posts about it, that you have been cross training and not only with sprawling and brawling, but you've been going up saw posts of you training at Apex Fight Systems as well as down at Victory with a former opponent of yours in Undead Jeremy Riley, and was one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. And also a former opponent of Charlie Cleveland as well, your opponent on June 7th. What has the experience been like for you to train with somebody that has not only gone to war with you, but also battled your opponent as well?
Um, really the big thing with it is just there's no work like getting the work with someone like your size, like your weight, like getting having to be able to move that weight. Like training with like people that are a little smaller, like that they have this speed and you gotta accommodate for that. But like when it comes to like any other part of the sport, which is grappling or anything that and involved where you actually have to move a person's body, it's super nice to have like that weight there because like being bigger and heavier and stuff like that, it makes it easy to move lighter guys just because of my size. So like actually having to use technique and wait for the right moments and feel for the opportunity and take it when it's there because the person's my size or weighs as much as I do or anything along like the criteria of just like getting rounds in with another heavyweight. Um, that's the big reason of going to Victory and getting working with Jeremy and Apex. They got a couple big guys up there and stuff like that, and so it just makes it a lot better. And especially, during camp, going and getting that work in, just I feel like it's a must have. Um, like I mean, you can do it without it, but it makes it better with it.
And I think it's really cool from my perspective to see you guys doing that, because not only that, it benefits you and what you're training for your fight, as well as Jeremy, who has a big fight coming up on the same night as you against a very big opponent out of Senegal, Africa, in Baduzaki, and there's very few guys that are his size out there. There's very few guys that are your size. So it's one of those things that I think it's very cool to see two guys that came up through the amateur rankings here, working together to prepare for a big pro fights like this. That's how we grow as an Ohio MMA community. And it's a big shout out to you guys for work. You can work together and make dollars, or you can fight each other and make pennies. So that's really cool to see that you guys are doing that, and trying to elevate each other's game up to the next level. I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you, RJ. So, moving ahead to June 7th, you got the big fight upcoming against Charlie Cleveland. Um, we kind of build this as a monster battle. These two big guys going at it. What was going through your mind? Because you were in the house at Cage Thunder 31 when he said he wanted you next. Um, what was going through your mind after you watched the fight against Mark Gordon? And what's it like when you all of a sudden a guy just goes, "Hey, I want to fight you."
Um, really, to be honest, I don't really know what goes through my mind. I just like I hear it and I'm like, dang, all right, like wasn't like expecting that, but like Charlie and I was supposed to actually before I fought for the Cage Thunder heavyweight title promotion down in Kentucky hit me up and asked if I would fight, offer me a fight down there to fight for their title, and then the opponent they got for me was Charlie, and I already signed the contract with Cage Thunder, and I didn't want to sign the contract with them, take that fight, and it was before the Cage Thunder fight. And I mean, everyone knows anything can happen. Like, you're one false move from being injured, hurt, knocked out, what I mean, losing in any way, and then possibly getting suspended, and then you just ruined a whole nother fight you had lined up. So I didn't take the fight then because I already had that contract signed. Um, and kind of seeing like really my whole like thought on everything is like from that day, like, Charlie's been out here doing good, like great things. Like he's been out here, what I mean, known for knocking people out and like putting on performances and stuff like that. And kind of in the aspect of myself, like, what I mean, putting on performances and finishing fights. And, so, word of mouth travels and, we're two really good competitors. And so I knew eventually like we was going to end up crossing paths at some time. I didn't think it was going to be by a call out, but I mean we're here now. So hopefully when June 7th comes, you know what I mean, that we both do whatever it is we got to do to whether he wins or I win. You know what I mean? We're just going to have a great fight, and I'm hoping for it.
What can fight fans expect in this fight on June 7th between you two?
Um, so like I touched back on what I just said. I'm pretty sure that he's got like I think even through his amateur career, like 100% finish rate, and so do I. So I don't feel like it is going to go the distance. I mean, there's a chance, you know what I mean? Like there's a chance it could, but I just feel like with how he likes to fight and how I like to fight, like I don't see it going all three. So
I,
I feel like it's just going to be fireworks the whole time.
I envision this thing just like when our graphics guy came up with the idea of just like either like two tanks or just two monsters going head on. It's just going to be boom and a collision, and here we go. And the fan in me is excited to be able to sit cage side and watch you do what you do at a professional level. I'm very much looking forward to it, and as everybody else is come June 7th. One of the questions I want to ask you that I ask everybody, and I'm just intrigued by everyone's answers. What is one fact about RJ the Hammer Harris that would surprise people to know?
Uh, to be honest, I don't know. I just do a lot of like different stuff all the time, so I don't really know if like it's just surprise people. Like the people that know me, I mean, it's common, but to the people that don't know me, they'd like, I kind of wouldn't see you doing that. But it's just kind of whatever, spur of the moment type things. Like I don't really know one thing it would like that comes to mind that I could say.
You're just t take it as it goes kind of guy, living each moment as it is.
Yeah,
I
like wake up and do whatever. I tell everybody. I used to say a lot. I'm one phone call away from a good time. So
Nothing wrong with that, my friend. I've lived my life like that before, so I feel you. I feel where you're at. That's cool. Um, well, like I said before, I'm really excited for this fight upcoming. I know we've taken up a little bit of your time here tonight. Is there anybody out there that you would like to thank that has helped you prepare for this?
so really anybody that's been with me in this fight camp, what I mean, obviously get me ready for this fight coming up June 7th. My sponsors, Burgess Ambulance Sales, Smith Rock Kennels, and Hazen Services. They've been in my corner since I've started getting sponsors. So a big thank you to them and anyone who's supported me and continues to support me, like all my family, friends, and everyone that watches and just likes to see me do what I do. I'm thankful for all of it.
Well, I thank you for your time, RJ Harris. I am Jake Digman. I've been speaking with RJ the Hammer Harris. He is going to be taking on Charlie the Reaper Cleveland in a professional heavyweight battle that you are going to want to be there live to see in person Saturday, June 7th from the Canton Civic Center in Canton, Ohio. It is Cage Thunder 32. Tickets are on sale right now at CageThunderMMA.com or Ticketmaster.com. The easiest way to get them is head over to CageThunderMMA.com, click the Get Tickets link, and then if you like what you heard on the interview, hit the promo code and throw in the word Harris to support RJ Harris. RJ, once again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.